Hello students, I am Dr.B.N.Jha, Principal Mohani Devi Memorial School, Araria RS. I have been taking classes of biology also. So, in the presentation, I would like to take the first chapter, Reproduction, for class 10. Reproduction, as you know, is the most striking special feature, characteristic feature of all living organisms all over the world, and reproduction is the most important factor, most important characteristic feature of all living. So, in this way, reproduction comes first and it has got very, very importance. So, reproduction, what is reproduction? Reproduction is the ability of all living organisms through which they can produce new organisms or offsprings like their own, whether they are unicellular organisms or multicellular organisms. Any type, any form in the world, diverse forms of organisms are there, and they have accommodated themselves as per their habit and habitat. And so, the mode of reproduction is also as per their requirement. Sure, mode of reproduction are of different types, starting from very simplest binary fission to sexual reproduction. But for the sake of convenience, I would like to categorize the reproduction into two: asexual reproduction as well as sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is the reproduction by the organism. In this process, organisms can produce new organisms only from a single parent. No two parents are needed in this process. Means you are well aware sexual reproduction also. You might have mentioned the name of sexual reproduction in the previous classes also. You have studied sexual reproduction in which two parents are needed. Gametes are formed, fusion takes place, and by the fusion, zygotes are formed, and from this zygote, new organism develop. But in the process of asexual reproduction, only one parent is needed and no involvement of sex organs, sex cells, or any type of fusion. So, this is simply a copying method. Copying method means in the asexual mode of reproduction, the parents can make their exact copy in the form of offsprings. In other words, you can say the offsprings are the true copy of their parents. So, in other words, this is also called cloning. Asexual reproduction can be treated as the cloning, and the offspring by means of asexual reproduction are also sometimes called clones. Now, asexual reproduction as a whole is exhibited by a diverse organisms. If we say the animals, most of the developed or complex organisms, they exhibit sexual reproduction. They don't exhibit asexual reproduction, but some of them Animals also exhibit asexual mode of reproduction. But plants, the flowering plants, they exhibit sexual reproduction as well as asexual reproduction. And in the asexual reproduction, vegetative propagation in axis. They exhibit vegetative reproduction by the flowering plants. In lower plants, they have different means of asexual reproduction. So here, asexual reproduction is being dealt as a whole, not for the plant and the animals. So one by one we'll see what are different types of asexual reproduction. For the sake of convenience, we have categorized it and we'll see one by one what are the different types of asexual reproduction. First of all, most of the unicellular organisms, planarians, they exhibit fission. So I would like to discuss the fission first. Fission. Fission is simply splitting a cell into two halves. This is not the exact cell division. Cell division is another type in which different types of stages come, and in the mitosis, two daughter cells are produced, and in meiosis, four daughter cells are produced. So, in the very primitive organisms, simple cell division is also a mode of reproduction, asexual reproduction. Through cell division, new organisms can be produced. But here, fission is also a type of cell division, but it is not exact like cell division. The different stages of cell division are not attained in this. It is simply fission of one cell into two or many. So this is called fission. Fission is exhibited by a majority of planarians and other animals also. So one by one, we'll see which type of fissions are exhibited by which type of organisms. Let us see. Fission is divided into again two types. One is binary fission. Binary fission, when one cell divides into two, bi means two, two part. So this is called binary fission. Binary fission is exhibited by amoeba, paramecium, euglena, planaria, and so many other organisms. Here, I would like to give you example of amoeba, the free living amoeba, binary fission. What happens actually? Amoeba divides into two, and the new daughter cells they attain the adulthood and go on. What does it mean? The parent amoeba divides into two, and this daughter amoeba also they also start their life cycle and they also divide. But when we talk about the life cycle, one stage in the life cycle comes that is called death. But here, in the case of amoeba, or in which fission takes place in all other organisms, no death is attained. So, what happens? In other words, it is also said that amoeba are immortal. What is the reason behind it? I would like to discuss. And many of the times it is said amoeba is immortal. So, what is reason? This is amoeba. Binary fission takes place in this, and in the process of binary fission, what happens? Constriction takes place in the wall of the amoeba, and gradually it deepens like this. These contractions take place and go inward, deep. Finally, this meets at a place, and the wall, mid wall, finally dissolves, separating these two daughter amoeba. These two. This is the parent amoeba, and this is daughter. So, what about this parent? Where is this parent? Surely it gives birth to two daughters. But what about this parent? Nowhere. Because if this parent itself divides into two, so no death is attained. That is why it is sometimes called that amoeba never dies. This is the case of simple binary fission, and binary fission is attained by different types of organisms like Paramecium also, Planaria also, Euglena also, and the mode of binary fission is also different. Some divide transversely. Just now I told you people, in the case of amoeba, it is vertical division. I have shown you vertical division. Means the group started from vertical, like this. So vertical, but plane of division may be different. Transverse also. In the case of planaria, I would like to. This is planaria. What happens? After attaching the planaria, the interior part with the substratum, it leaves the posterior part hang. What happens after hanging? This starts constriction starts transversely here, and finally it will remove. This division takes place transversely, separating the posterior part of the planaria. And soon, in both the part, new planaria develops. Means what is the lost part? It is regenerated automatically in both of the cases. So this is also binary fission. But the plane of binary fission is different. It is transverse binary fission. Now, fission is also of another type that's called multiple fission. In the case of multiple fission, one cell divides into many, multiple, and each of the newly divided cells are potentially capable of giving birth to the new organisms. There's also cell reproduction. Sure, in the multiple fission, one cell divides into many, or you can say one parent can give birth to many offsprings. Let us take the example of malaria parasite, the Plasmodium. It attacks the RBC of the human being, and when it goes inside the RBC, it eats the RBC, and then it divides into many. The nucleus of the parasite once splits into many parts, then cytoplasm of the each nucleus encircled with some part of cytoplasm and forms one unit. And finally, they are liberated from one plasmodium. This example is plasmodium. So, one plasmodium divided into many plasmodium. This is called multiple fission. In the case of plasmodium, two types of parasites are there for the sake of information. These are side joint. Side joint is the active adult of plasmodium species. But plasmodium species also produce the ancestor zygote also. It also divides to many. When ancestor zygote attacks the RBC, then that is called sporon. The process of from 1 to 7, this is called zygogony, and in the case of sporon, sporogote. This is a case of malaria parasite, and we are discussing multiple fission. In amoeba also, multiple fission takes place, and in that case, this is called sporulation. Sporulation. Means the spore formation. Not exactly a spore formation, but it is multiple phases. But sometimes the product is also called spores. The nucleus divides into many, and this is cytoplasm. Some of the cytoplasm encircles each and every nucleus. and then a hard covering is also secreted over it. It becomes ancestor. In other words, you can see this is the perinatal spores. The process is called sporulation. And finally, this when liberates and after germination, it gives to the new amoeba. You can say baby amoeba. And they are also called spores. These spores gives birth to the new one. This is multiplication in case of amoeba. Fission is completed, then another process in the case of sexual reproduction is spore formation. So let us move to the spore formation. Spores are also called teeny seeds. They are produced in planting and they are very, very tiny, microscopic. Since it gives birth to the new organism, that is why this is also called seeds. But actually, they are not produced sexually. It is not the true seed. It is said like that. Spore or spore formation. Different types of spores are produced by different organisms. So, on the basis of this, different types of spores are produced by different species. Starting from zoospores. Zoospores are motile spores. They can move by using their flagella. That is why they are called zoospores. These zoospores are generally produced in different types of organisms. Basically, by the fungi group, and in the fungi, when we discuss the fungi, they produce mycelium. Mycelium is this tube-like structures. Different types of myceliums are there. Some mycelium or some hypha or some thread-like structure of the fungi, they are under the substratum, and some of them come out in the air and they are called aerial hypha. So some of the aerial hypha, they produce such a structure in which these spores are produced, and that structure is called sporangium. Since in the case of zoospores, they are produced in a special type of sporangium, that is why such type of sporangium is called zoosporangium. And after the production of different types of zoospores, they are lifted by decisions of the zoosporangium. The zoospores are flagellated. And after decisions, with the help of their flagella, either they swim in the air or they swim in the water. These are zoospores. Best example is phytophthora. Next is Sporangium. sporangiosspores. These spores are tiny spores. They are also called endospores. They are produced by the aerial hypha of the fungi, and the tip of the aerial hypha converts into a vesicle-like structure. This is called sporangium. In this sporangium, the sporangiospores are produced, and after their liberation, these spores give birth to the new organisms. This, but don't forget, the zoospores are flagellated, motile in nature, but sporangiospores are non-motile in nature. They don't bear flagella in it. Another type of spores are also there, clamadospores. These clamadospores are resting spores. Resting spores means they got a very hard covering over it, encysted, they are encysted. Resting spores, and they escape the unfavorable condition, and after coming the favorable condition, they can germinate. These are produced from the hypha. Any part of the hypha, they get thick wall and converts into clematospores. This. These are called clematospores. In many of the fungi, these clematospores are produced as the new propagules. Next is oidea. Oidea is also a type of spore which are produced by different types of fungi, microorganisms, and what happens actually, the hypha, the tip of the hypha, it cuts off in the form of teeny spores, and these spores are called oidea. These, but since they are capable enough to give rise to new organisms, that is why they are treated as the spores. These are different types of spores. Clematospores, oidea is also spores. They can give birth to the new organisms. Now comes conidia. This is also a special type of spores which are produced, no doubt, on the aerial hypha of the microorganism of the fungi. But this specialized aerial hypha is called conidiophore. And over this conidiophore, this protuberances, this conidiophores bear different, so many types, so many protuberances, and these protuberances produce spores, teeny spores, either singly or it looks appearing in chains. So sometimes picture comes like this. These are conidiophore and these are the conidia. This is also a type of spore. Now, spore formation is here completed. Another mode of asexual reproduction is vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation. What do you mean by vegetative propagation? When asexual reproduction takes place by means of vegetative part of the organism, this is called vegetative propagation. What is the vegetative part? Other than sexual part, either in plants or animals, sexual, when we leave the sexual part, other parts are called vegetative part. Taking one example of plant. If new organisms develop from stem, the stem is vegetative part, root is vegetative part, leaf is vegetative part, and like so on. So, we are discussing here the vegetative reproduction means the asexual reproduction takes place by means of vegetative bodies, vegetative part. Vegetative reproduction again can be divided into two. In the nature, vegetative reproduction takes place automatically, but this vegetative reproduction that takes place in the nature is exploited by human being also. So when human being does it for their own interest, they are called man-made, unnatural. This is no nature, artificial. So this is also of type natural vegetative reproduction and artificial vegetative reproduction. We are here talking about the natural vegetative reproduction. Vegetative reproduction when takes place through by means of roots. This is called vegetative reproduction by means of roots. I am discussing that natural vegetative reproduction. You might have listened the name of sweet potato. Dahlia. Yeah. And many other plants. They bear fleshy roots in the ground. And what happens? These fleshy roots produce small buds. These buds have the potential to give rise to the new organisms. And by means of these buds, they produce new organisms. So, this is also the vegetative reproduction by means of roots. Like, I would like to Take the example of sweet potato. What happens? There be different types of birds over the body, and there be different birds. These are birds, and these birds give rise to new organisms, new plants. Same is the case of dahlia. Also in the case of dahlia, different birds are produced, and these birds finally produce new plants. So this is natural vegetable propagation by means of roots. Natural vegetable propagation by means of roots is also exhibited by season. You might have seen in the rainy season, the superficial roots of the season parallelly moving roots of season, they be a very small rootlets over the surface, and finally it converts into the seedlings. And people used to bear these seedlings or treat this seedling as the new plant. So this is also new way or natural reproduction, vegetable reproduction by means of roots. Then vegetable reproduction by means of stem. Vegetative reproduction by means of stem again can be categorized in different types. Here, underground stem. We are treating the underground stem. So many stems, though stems are the part of the shoot and they are present in the name of the ground. But so many types of roots are there, modified roots are there, which are present in the under the ground. So we are talking about such type of the roots and the reproduction by means of roots. One by one, we are talking and categorized it as suckers. Suckers are the roots which move parallel to the ground, inside the ground, from the parent plant. It moves parallel, and again from another plant to another. And when it comes out of the ground, it bears leaves. In the case of mint, you might have seen this is mint plant. This is ground. So stem come out, and in this way, in a very short span of time, this mint plant covers a very large area. So this suckers, these are the suckers. They are stem. Another are rhizomes. They are also a specialized stem, and they produce potential propagals, and through these potential propagals, new plants are germinated. You might have listened the name of water hyacinth. Water hyacinth, they are present in the plant, and so many such plants here, this hanging roots of the plant, and these roots, and it is the stem. This is stem. We have so many types of modified stem. These modified stems, they produce birds, and these birds are able to produce new plants. And when they are detached from one plant to another plant, so many plants are produced. This is the rhizomes. You might have listened to the name of the rhizomes. In the case of banana also be a rhizomes. And so many rhizomes, one banana plant can produce so many rhizomes. And from one rhizome develops one banana plant. This water hyacinth, this case of water hyacinth, why it has got importance here? Because this water hyacinth is very dangerous weed all over the world, not only in India. And it is supposed to produce from one water hyacinth, it can produce approximately 65,000 new plants in one season if it is left intact. So, this is next comes forms. Corms are also the swollen part of the underground stem, like in the colocasia. And they bear these buds all over the body. These birds are called corms, and the whole part is called corm. But these birds are efficient enough to give birth to the new plants, like colocasia. Another type of vegetative reproduction by stem is bulb. In the onion, you might have listened the name of garlic. This is stem. This is called bulb. And this is also has potential to give birth to the new organisms. So this is stem actually, and this is fibrous roots, and they are leaves of the plant. This is called bulb. And this bulb has got the potential of giving rise to the new tumors. You are well familiar with the potatoes. And this tumor is the underground modification of stem. What happens actually? This is potato and potato bears and lost structures over the body. This lost structure is called eye. Actually, this is the underground modification of stem. It is not eye. Actually, this is node. This is also I, and this is also node. And in between this area is internode. But the structure is different. These node part of the tuber, this is called tuber. This node part of the tuber, BS, a bud which is responsible for the giving birth to the new plant. So this birds give us to the new plant. And in our country also, in the world also, when new crop of potato is grown, then if the size of potato is very big, then it is cut into different parts, bearing some height in each. Why? Because this I will give birth to the new plant. So this is still the case of the tube. Now, some other stems also are there. Which are creeping stems. These stems creep over the ground like runners. You might have listened to the name of the grasses, cyanodon. Grasses, the members of the grammary family. This is stem. These are leaves, this is stem, and this is fibrous roots. These stems bear runners. Actually, runners are nothing, but they are part of this stem. They run over the ground and touches the ground. Wherever it touches, roots develops and new plants come out. Leaves also develop. From here also, another internode goes over the ground, run over the ground, and touches the ground, and new plants. So it looks like what? If you uproot it, these plants also will be uprooted together because they are attached with each other. They are called runs. Another stolon. These are also actually stolons are also runners, but special types of runners. These are called armed runners. Armed runners. Why this is called armed runners? Because if in the way of their run, any obstacles come, it can run over it and a arc is formed. That is why this is called arced runners. Like this. Suppose one obstacle is there, stone. So this runs like this. So they are arced. Third is offset. Offset are actually, they are also runners, but one internode runner. One internode. This also a floating plant in the water is called Fission. The stem of Pistia bear one internode. One internode. All. They are actually rare, but they bear only one internode here. They are called offset. Sure. Pistia. In case of Pistia. These are also protein plant. Now these are the cases of creeping stems. Now aerial stems. What about aerial stems? Aerial stems which are present in the air. You might have listened to the name of the cactus, and most popular among the cactus are Opuntia. Yes, they are modified stem, and these are the spines are the modified leaves. But here the birds also. These birds actually are stem. When come to the ground, or not only the birds, the whole stem also. When come out from down to the earth, okay, new plant come out. Sure. This is the case of aerial stem vegetable propagation by different type of stems. Now come to the leaf. Vegetable propagation very commonly you must be knowing a plant as a core. No. These leaf roots, and these are the notches of the leaf. This is called pathachu in Hindi. So the notches bear the potential buds which give rise to the new plants, and from notches when the leaves come to the ground, and even when they are in the plants also alive, these leaves bear different types of small leaflet, smaller seedlings, and when these seedlings come to the ground, they develop into the new plants. This is the case of natural vegetative propagation by means of leaf. Another type of vegetative propagation is also reported in nature, and these are one of them is bulbil. Bulbil is nothing, but this is the potential bud which are present in the axis of the leaf. Generally, in the axis of the leaf, birds are present, and these birds may be divided into, may develop into stem, flower, anything. But in the case of some plants, what happens? This is the stem, and this is the leaf. This is leaf, and this is the axis of the leaf. And in the axis, actually, birds are developed, but not here. Here, special type of mass of cells they are produced, and when they are detached from the plants, they give birth to the new plant. So these are called bulbs. Now come to the artificial mode of reproduction. Artificial vegetable propagation. Artificial vegetable propagation are also different types by means of stem, by means of roots, and others. Starting from stem, cutting. Cutting means some stems are very viable potential to give rise to the new plant. You are very familiar with the rose cutting, tricks of the rose cutting, what happens. Actually, when these rose cutting, the stem part of the stem is immersed into the mud, gradually we see some sprouts come out from this and roots develop. These sprouts later on converts into the branches and finally leaves, maybe a leaves. So, for the purpose of rapid multiplication of such type of plants, we people generally do it. And that's why it is called artificial mode of vegetable propagation. This by means of cutting. In rose plant in marigold also, and other examples are also there. Another type of artificial mode of reproduction, sexual reproduction, vegetative reproduction is layering. In the case of layering, what happens? A plant which is already present in the soil and it bears so many branches and a long branch, flexible branch, is immersed like this into the ground, and a mound is placed, mound of soil is placed over it, and the rest part is again present in the air. This the immersed part or submerged part is little bit injured, and after the injury, what happens after some days? New roots come out from the injured part, or you can say submerged part, and later on, this part is cut down and this is transferred from one place to another place as a new individual. So this is called mound layer. Layering, another type of layering is also done, that is called air layering. What happens in the case of air layering? A branch of plant is little bit, the upper part of the plant is removed. This is the bark part and the maybe the vascular bundles. Not actually vascular bundle. After the vascular bundle, the superficial part of the plant stem is removed, girded. and this girdled part is covered by sealing wax, including some nutrients like dung and husk others. Gradually, what happens after some time, we can plot it again. After some time, what happens? This is the cuttend bears roots in it, and when roots properly develop, come out of the seal. This seal is also called booty. So the air line is also called booty, and then it is detached from this part, and now this detached part is another plant, and it is planted over the ground. So this layering is also artificial mode of vegetative reproduction. Then comes grafting. Grafting is a very old practice in our country. We generally graft roses in roses, mangoes in mangoes, so different types of. So, on the basis of their mode, their practice, we can categorize it. Tongue, tongue grafting. Crown grafting. Bird grafting. And so on. I would like to discuss few of them. Suppose this plant, this is branch. The branch is cut like this, obliquely, and the desired plant, which is desired. Suppose this is a mango tree. This is a very ordinary mango tree, and you can make it this branch as the Sahari. So the tree of the Sahari. But one thing is very important here. The diameter of the Sahari plant must carry with this plant also. The plant which is attached with the ground, this is called stalk plant. And the plant which is being grafted is called sign. So here his sign is grafted. And this pot is sealed by sealing wax. After a few months, this sealed tightly and will make airtight. In what happens, automatically they make way of the passage of the nucleus from this part to that part, and this part also, the grafted part also becomes the part and parcel of the stalk. So this is a rapid formation of desired plant in this process. Another type of grafting is also there, in which waste graft. Waste graft. In waste grafting, what happens? The sides, the desired plant are cut like waste. This. And the stalk is cut and a V-shaped notch or groove is made. This is stalk and this is side. This is fixed in the notches, V-shaped notches, like this. And so many vessels or sides are attached with the stalk, and gradually they are separated later on when they establish their relationship with the stalk and comes out as the new plant. This is called base graft. Again, another type of grafting is bud grafting. And what happens in the case of bud grafting? The stalk plant, if it is the diameter of the plant is very big, large, then it is set. Notch is made, and this the deepness of this notch goes to the vascular bundle. Then, a word of the desired plant is removed from that plant with some part of the cork. This is called bud. This bud is immersed into this T-shaped notch. And finally, leaving the upper part of the board free, the rest part is shaped and made it airtight. And what happens? After some time, from this upper part of the bird, new plant comes out, and later on, when it grows well, the stalk is removed from this plant, and it looks like the part of the older plant. This is called bud graft. Now, this is artificial and natural vegetative propagation by means of different vegetative part is over. Again, one part of the asexual reproduction is left here. This is micropropagation. Micropropagation, you must be knowing. This is done in the microscopic level. That is why it is called microscopic propagation. There is also a simpler word is called tissue culture. Tissue culture nowadays for the scientist, the botanist, it is a very important modern technique of developing different types of plants and animals by means of tissue culture. This is called in vitro condition. In vitro condition means in vitro means in the laboratory condition. When we talk about the laboratory condition, we must talk about the controlled condition. Means different climatic factors are controlled here, and we provide the tissue in the controlled light, controlled humidity, controlled temperature for proper development of the tissue. And also different techniques are employed here. So in vitro conditions, some tissues are transferred over the culture media. A concept of culture media is that culture media is nothing just like soil. Soil is the source of nutrients. Here we make the artificial source of nutrients in the test tubes and in the aseptic condition. These all are done in the laboratory. You must be knowing in artificial condition, in aseptic condition. Aseptic condition means no other organisms can be transferred into that nutrient medium and in that. This is done in the inoculation chamber, in the control chamber, and this chamber is made microorganisms free by different means, by UV light and by sanitization and different processes. In detail, I am not going to in detail, but here you are very familiar to the test tube. So larger diameter test tubes are taken. These and this test tube, nutrients are kept, slants are made. This slants means the surface area, to make the surface area more and more. That's why slants are made. These are slants. Slants are made. And in the aseptic condition, the tissue of the desired plant or animal is aseptically transferred over the nutrient medium. This is nutrient medium. And the cover is blocked by means of cotton plug. And this is transferred to the laboratory condition. In controlled condition means the controlled temperature, light, and humidity is provided in the laboratory, and also other things are done. Gradually, what happens? A mass of cells is produced over the culture media. This is called callus. This gas, mass of cells, are produced, and gradually from this mass of cells, converts into the new plant, and whenever it is needed, it is transferred to the natural condition to establish this plant in the nature, and after from the nature, this plant now is settling. This is transferred to the main cropland or mainland. This is called tissue culture. This is the most practiced nowadays. You are very familiar with the dolly, the sheep. This also is was also produced by means of this tissue culture method, and so many plants like Nepenthes and such plants which are at the verge of extinction. Those plants are also produced by means of this tissue culture method, and they are multiplied in plant. One of the plant I would like to deal here, Ginkgo biloba. This is the native plant of China, but it is very important medicinally, and this is not found in even China, in India also. But medicinally, it is very important. So by means of scientists are doing their level best to produce new ginkgo biloba trees by means of tissue culture. And let's see what happens. Thank you very much.